What's going on, Spurs fans, and welcome to another edition of the Hotspur live stream here on Stateside Footy. Of course, I am your boy, Steve Silver, and I got to be honest with you, man, I am absolutely fired up for this one as the Premier League is back after a 2-3 week layoff because of the international window. And of course, me being a U.S. fan, I was absolutely super stoked to get back to the schedule. And of course, Spurs had to wait an extra week before they had to run up to the Stadium of Light to take on a Sunderland team that is absolutely safe, as they're sitting on 40 points, 43 points, and they have absolutely hit it out of the park this year from their summer transfer window all the way to now. And quite honestly, listen, man, tip your hats to a team like Sunderland. They have been through hell and back, and if you're just an absolute football fan, you have to appreciate exactly what the Black Cats have been able to do this season under Regis Labrie. As for our beloved Tottenham Hotspur, good God, it is worst case scenarios. We are sitting 2 points below the drop as West Ham was able to pick up a result. So that leaves us in a position where we are in an absolute must-win. Make no mistake about it, because from this standpoint, from 7 games left, the margin for error is 0. We cannot afford to lose a match. And this one is about as big as it gets because we absolutely dropped the ball against Nottingham Forest right before the break. That was a game where we absolutely needed something. And so from that standpoint, now all of a sudden it's panic mode, right? This is a situation where we got to break the glass, right? In case of an emergency. So Roberto De Zerbi was that panic buy. That being said, when you look at Roberto De Zerbi, last seen in the 2022-2023 season with Brighton, I think they led him to an FA Cup semifinal, FA Cup final, and also got them into Europe as well too. And so from that standpoint, you're talking about a team like Brighton that that shit doesn't happen at Brighton. So we know that Roberto De Zerbi can get a tune out of talent. This would be the most talented team that he's absolutely inherited. And so from that standpoint, you're kind of looking at this, okay, game on. We have a 7-game sprint to this, to the end of the season. And hopefully these players are up for it. Let's go ahead and meet the chat today. Of course, we have Adrian from Spurs Diehards TTID who says, good afternoon, Steve. Good afternoon to you as well. To Adrian, I hope you're doing well. I would probably assume you're at the game today, being a season ticket holder. Dan Davenport, 6902, big up to you, sir. It's good to see you today. He goes on to say De Zerbi is a more experienced Prem coach. So glad he joined us. He has 60 million reasons why he joined us. So there's that. He said Tudor was the wrong choice. I don't know about that, right? Because had the powers that be act decisively at the end of November or even in December, I'm sure Tudor probably would have worked. But under the circumstances of where we were at the time of his appointment, the last thing, bringing in a firefighter, maybe a little bit of a disciplinary and kind of a hard ass in a time where morale was completely down. Yeah, I would probably say at that time it was a wrong choice. All right, let's go ahead and get into the starting lineups today. Brought to you in part by Budweiser. I'm just playing. Budweiser doesn't sponsor this. Here is your starting 11 for our beloved Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Sunderland away. Yeah, you're right. Antonin Kinski, Tony will get the start in net. By the way, Roberto De Zerbi is playing in a 4-2-3-1 today. And I know that fans have a little bit of trepidation when it comes to Tony Kinski. Considering the last time we saw Kinski, it was the first leg in the Champions League against Atletico in the Estadio Metropolitano. And he was pulled, and he did not look good at all. From a shot stopping, from a shot stopping standpoint, from a positional standpoint, it looked like he was nervy. And so from that standpoint, I can understand why fans have a little bit of trepidation. But what I will say is that, Igor Tudor threw him to the wolves. And if you remember how we came into that match, our defense was not playing well. and there was a lot of mistakes made, and it's essentially, playing Tony Kinski in that environment, away from the stadium, away from the home fans, in an environment that's not conducive, especially to a young player that's coming back into the starting 11 for the first time in about a year. The last thing you want to do is throw him to the wolves, and that's exactly what happened. Now, again, I'm not making excuses. He did not play well at all. There is a level of accountability when it comes to that, and I'm completely aware of it. But that being said, I look at the prospect for what he is, and he is a very good goalkeeping prospect that has an entirely, an entire high ceiling. But that being said, again, now we're back into the Premier League in an environment that may or may not be conducive, and so you're hoping that he has a short-term memory, right? Short-term memory loss, that he's able to put that behind him and focus in on the situation at hand, which is getting 3 points. And the way that Roberto De Zerbi looks at his goalkeeper, it's essentially like an 11th outfield player. And so the way that he likes to play is with the ball. His goalkeeper is to play with the ball at his feet. And so from that standpoint, it is going to be up to the players that are in front of him, mainly Christian Romero and Mickey Van de Ven, to make sure that, the space above them, their positioning is good. So that takes a little bit of a pressure off them, and also leadership as well too. And especially from that standpoint, right? There's a few things that Roberto De Zerbi has installed. There's a few things, there's a few places that he wants Kinski to put the ball. And if it's not there, just, play it long or play it out if there's any type of pressure. And so from that standpoint, you're kind of putting your faith in Tony Kinski today. But really, this is about the back four, making sure that, positionally speaking, they're going to be in the right places to make sure that Tony Kinski is not going to be left twisting in the wind. The back four today for Spurs off the right-hand side will be Pedro Porro. The center back pairing of Christian Romero, who wears the armband today, and Mickey Van de Ven, two players that, if this is going to be something of what we saw under Ange Postecoglou, we can expect a little bit of a higher line. These two players are going to be pivotal too, because their passing ability does have the ability to break lines. And with Mickey Van de Ven and his speed, he can also push forward a little bit as well too. So from that standpoint, these two players are going to be huge. Off the left-hand side is going to be Destiny Adoji. The midfield pivot of Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall is a little bit of to me, it's a little suspect. And especially considering what Sunderland is going to be throwing them as far as the midfield three, when you're kind of looking at Siddiqui, Granit, Xhaka, and Diarra at that stage, right? Who's going to be able to put out the fires defensively for this team to make sure that guys like Siddiqui and Granit Xhaka aren't going to be essentially just stationed outside our 18-yard box playing balls in, who's going to be able to do that? That's probably why I would have gone with João Palhinha on the road. But that being said, there's a lot of faith in both Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray. Who's going to be the 6? Who's going to be playing the 8? You probably think that Archie Gray is going to be the stay-at-home 6, maybe. We'll see. I guess you can say the attacking 4 off the right-hand side, Roberto De Zerbi has gone with Randall Kolo-Muani. Richarlison will be off the left with Conor Gallagher playing higher up the pitch today. Not a bad shout. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Conor Gallagher was not used properly under the last 2 managers, almost playing that role of that stay-at-home 6. And, of course, Conor Gallagher has been absolute dog shit at this stage. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how that is going to look. And it's kind of interesting considering that all our skill players, our creative outlets will start this game on the bench, while all our goal scorers are on the pitch for this one. And, of course, Dominic Solanke will be up top. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how this thing will play out. Adrian here in the chat says the left-hand side looks strong. It all depends on how Richarlison is used. Will be determining that. Let's go ahead and take a look at Sunderland. And Regis Labrie will start off in a 4-3-3. Obviously, pushing up the pitch. It's going to look like a 3-1-4-2 as they attack. Robin Roofs will be back in net for Sunderland, and of course, I'm 100% sold on Robin Roofs as a keeper. The back 4 is Rienlo, Aldredi, Luke O'Nien, and Mukalele. a midfield three of Siddiqui, Xhaka, and Diarra, and an attacking three of Lafay, Rigg, and Brian Brobery. And of course, Brobery is pretty solid. But we are underway now from the Stadium of Light as this match has kicked off, and it looks like there will be a whistle, and it looks like Conor Gallagher hit the turf there, so this will be a free kick for Spurs. And this is a must-win situation for Spurs, without a doubt, considering West Ham was able to get a result. Spurs need to figure out a way to score goals, and it will be interesting to see exactly how this will play as Mickey Van de Ven played this back to Tony Kinski, and now the ball will be at the feet of Romero as this ball continues to move backwards as Tony Kinski will play this back to Romero. That's a heavy touch right there, but Romero will play it forward as that falls to Dominic Solanke, and now Spurs will move up the left-hand side as it's Richarlison who's going to play one forward. That's a good through ball right there. Here's Solanke. Plays it forward as it drops. There's a shot, and that's Robin Roofs. As Pedro Porro was there, as that thing was played back, as we see it again. And that's a good through ball right there, it looks like by Richarlison, as he laid it forward to Solanke, who hit the end line right there, played it forward as it bounced around. And it was Pedro Porro that put one on. So a good first attacking sequence for Spurs as Sunderland now will play it long as Robin Roofs. And that's a good little play right there by Van de Ven, but that's going to come down to Sunderland, who plays one in, and that's automatically cleared by Romero. And it looks pretty good touch right there. And now Spurs will be in transition. Ooh, and Lucas Berra, I think that was Richarlison that tried to play it forward. Not exactly the best through ball right there, but again, Spurs in space, looking pretty goddamn strong here, as Solanke did a very good job to win that one, pushing it forward to Richarlison, who tried to play it through, and it looked like it was Luke O'Nien that broke this thing up. Already, Spurs look strong, as we're only about 3 minutes into the first half. But they got their shooting boots on, man. Automatically, this shit looks different. As Tony Kinski will have the ball at his feet. Let's go, Tony. And Kinski will play it long. As that one will come back. As Kolomwani nearly took it away, but that's a good through ball for Sunderland. Off the left-hand side. Brobery has the overlap. He's going to lay this one back. And now they're going to switch it to the right-hand side. As Rigg will play this one back. As O'Nien now will switch it to the left-hand side. There you go. There you go. Don't give them space. As they're moving down, Sunderland's moving this down the right-hand side. As Richarlison will let this one go past the end line, so this will be a goal kick for Spurs. Just a quick reminder for you guys out there to make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming Stateside Footy content. Next week, we will have Billy T on the program as we assess Roberto De Zerbi's first two matches as boss. So that is going to be a very good conversation with Billy T. As Kolomwani was having trouble corral that one in, but Spurs in transition look pretty good. Here's Mwani right here. Cutting in, lays it off to the left-hand side. There's a shot by Richarlison, but an easy save right there by Robin Roofs. But that being said, clean transitioning for Spurs here in the first half. And they are attacking central areas right here. And that was a good little through ball right there to the left-hand side to Richarlison, who's got to put a little bit more oomph on that ball. That was an easy, clean save for Robin Roofs. And Sunderland now will have possession, as that one is going to get played forward, broken up as Here comes Sunderland now attacking down the right-hand side. There's a ball in. Good defensive play right there by Christian Romero with a good sliding tackle to break that one up, as it looks like Brobby had the edge right there off the right-hand side. So this will be Sunderland's first corner here. At the 5:45 mark here in the first half. And it looks like Lafay will take the corner here. And now there will be a switch as Lafay comes down. So this will be Granit Xhaka now. Taking this corner. One of the things that Spurs have to do is make sure that back post is taken care of. And it looks like Van de Ven is there, as Bergvall looks like he's marking Brobby as that ball goes into the back. And nice play by Kinski. As that ball was angling into the far post, and Kinski just goes up and taps it over. Heads up play by Tony. And so Sunderland again will have another corner here. And it'll be Granit Xhaka. And we'll do this one over. As that ball will go in. Headed away. And now Spurs will try to counter. Sunderland does a good job of taking this one back. As that one falls. As that one is booted up. God, instead of just actually playing that ball to his foot and holding possession, Sunderland comes away with it, as now they're going to play this one down the left-hand side. Here's Lafay. Plays it forward, and that touches a little too far forward, as that'll get out. And on the ground right now, it looks like it's Randall Colomwani. As Colomwani went hard after this ball. And he took a nice little shot right there. And it looks like it was Mukulele right there that came in on him. As Mukulele was trying to clear that ball away. As Mwani is down. Actually, it was Siddiqui. But play is resumed. As Spurs try to keep this one alive, it's going to fall. Looks like to Brobby. And that's a good little challenge right there by Mickey Van de Ven, as that ball will go out. So Sunderland will have to throw in here. Off the right-hand touchline, as this one will get played all the way back. As it finds its way back to Aldretti. As Robin Roofs now will have control of this. As this one gets played forward, here's Luke O'Nien. And he's got space to dribble as he runs past Richarlison, and O'Nien will play one in. Good play right there by Luke O'Nien. And O'Nien will do it again. And that one will find Brobby. Good challenge right there by Archie Gray. And that will get out. Last touch, I believe, by Sunderland. As Luke O'Nien played two solid balls into the box. The second one did find Brobby, as Christian Romero did a fantastic job right there of tapping that one away. As Spurs do try to clear it out of danger, but Sunderland now will hold possession again, and it'll be O'Nien. As Sunderland has been able to work it down the right side with ease, but here comes Spurs now on the counter. And it's Romero. It looks better. High lines. I kind of dig it, as Archie Gray now will play it off to the left. I kind of dig it, man. The return of the high line. Play a ball forward for fuck's sake. There you go. God damn it. As Romero now will play it off to the right-hand side. Here's Kolo Muani. Tries to play it through. Good defense right there by Sunderland. As that one will go out. As Lucas Bergvall had to come down and track it. So this will be a throw-in. And it's Mickey Van de Ven. Jesus Christ. Just get the ball forward for fuck's sake. This has to be like in transition on counters. This team is beautiful. Or it has looked, there's a good ball forward, but it'll find Robin Roofs. So far in counterattacking opportunities, Spurs have been very good playing good decisive through balls. In the buildup, though, good Lord. This team is terrible in the buildup. Anyway, as this one will make it back to Tony. As Tony will play it long. But it'll find Archie Gray, and so Spurs will start this process yet again. That's a good ball forward. Off the half turn, there's going to be a whistle. Yeah, as Richarlison will hit the deck. And this looks like it'll be against Mukalele. So Spurs get a free kick in a pretty solid area. I do want to thank all those that are tuning in via TikTok Live. You guys are awesome. I do want to thank all those that are tuning in from X and also Facebook as well, too. You guys are absolutely awesome. And, of course, those that are tuning in via YouTube, you guys are awesome. Everybody's goddamn awesome today, man. It is a wonderful Sunday for a Spurs win. So, yeah, I do appreciate it. As we're getting set for this free kick here, it'll be Pedro Porro, who is sitting above this one. As that ball will go in, back post, and it'll just fly out. That was a terrible free kick for Pedro. Good Lord. What a terrible free kick. As looks like Roofs will play this long. It'll be goalkeeper to goalkeeper connection there. That is the dude that I want. If we are to replace Vicario, that's the guy that I will. That's the guy that I want. Robin Roofs is a stud of a keeper. He's going to be the future starting keeper for the Dutch national team. As that's a heavy touch, and Spurs lose it high up the pitch. As it looks like it's Granit Xhaka who's going to get harassed. So now all of a sudden Sunderland will have a free kick. And they're going to say this one was against what? Conor Gallagher? If you come at the king, you best not miss, son. You best not miss, son. You might as well just hard tackle them at that stage. Kind of a little bit of a ticky-tack foul, but now all of a sudden Sunderland has a free kick in a dangerous area. And it'll be Granit Xhaka, who has been a hell of a signing for Sunderland this season. We'll sit over this one as we are now in the 14th minute now. Spurs have actually had not only the possession, but also have had the better looks so far. Not a lot of shots, only 2. As that ball will go in, it's going to take a head. I don't know what Xhaka was looking at as that ball gets played in, but there's Tony Kinski to clean this thing up. So both teams had opportunities here. Coy Knutson said, dude, they are selling. What are they selling? Coke? Weed? What are they selling? As Tony's playing out of the back, that was a hard foul right there against Christian Romero. He said all. Oh, man. That is Sunday. If you're not doing blow on a Sunday, I don't know what you're doing. As Brian Bobbery came over and absolutely dropped Romero. kind of a meaningless tackle, except if you're trying to sell that toughness, then I can understand that one. Let's see. Right-hand side, we don't know what we'll get from Mwani. Gray to cover for Mwani and Poro going forward. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Adrian. So, like, that's the thing. It's like you take Mwani away from goal-scoring areas, and he's absolutely trash. That's why I didn't like the idea of Kolo Mwani starting today. Would much rather had Matisse Tell. But that being said, you have to wonder if Matisse Tell is actually ready, because he did have a little bit of a knock. As Spurs will come away with this possession here. And now they'll switch between Romero and Van de Ven. God, Jesus Christ. Why are you waiting for a defender to come in? Move the ball forward. As Romero will play it down. Mwani tries to chip it forward, but there was nobody there. And now Sunderland will have the ball, and they're going to quickly move this to the left-hand side. Here's Lefay, plays it forward. And there's Tony Kinski to cover it up. As Brian Brobby was charging hard. And again, Sunderland in transition, quick passing. And it looked like Romero got a foot on it as he tried to flick it forward. That's actually kind of high IQ right there. As Brobby couldn't get a foot on the ball, but here comes Sunderland again. And now they'll pass this thing around down the left-hand side. And Xhaka is now going to have to play this one back. And now they'll reset with Xhaka off the left-hand side. And now it's Luke O'Nien. What a story for Luke. As Xhaka will play it down the left-hand side. And here's Lefay. Spurs actually are marking pretty well. As now they'll switch it off to the right. And now they'll have to play it back. As they'll reset down the left-hand side. And there's space here. Good cut in. Tries to find Lefay. He's got space. Chips it over. Ooh. And Sunderland nearly scored as Brobby puts it over the crossbar. Good ball movement for Sunderland. And it was, Ronaldo and Lefay on that nice little 1-2 that sprang Lefay free. And he just pops it over. And there was Brobby, marked by Van de Ven, but he had to go up to try to get that one and puts it over the bar. And that ball, as it looked like that goal kick sails wide right out of bounds. And I think Sunderland will have the throw in here. As Spurs, that's going to be a foul right there on Bergvall. And Spurs really kind of have relinquished possession here for the last 5-10 minutes, as they have set into a nice little defensive shape here. We're going to have to see this team be a little bit more aggressive and try to win some of these ball backs, utilize that speed. That's what this lineup was set out today, was it was supposed to get their pacey players out for counterattacking situations, or if not, just in the buildup making runs. And at this stage, we really haven't seen Spurs with the ball a lot so far, especially in the last 10 minutes. So play resumes with Tony, as he's going to try to chip this one down the right-hand side, as Kolo Muani tries to play one forward, or Pedro Porro, excuse me. And there's going to be a foul now, and they're going to say this one was against Renato Rayolando. Here's the play as it's reset. And they're going to say I think they're going to say Spurs corner here. Last touch by Sunderland as Granit Xhaka is arguing with this one. They're saying it was last touch by Luke O'Nien. As he comes over. Yep, it sure was last touch by Luke O'Nien. As he came and slid over off his foot. This will be a Spurs corner here. Yep. Good call by the ref. Clearly last touch by Luke. As Sunderland's trying to plead their case here, but it was absolutely clear. It was absolutely clear that ball was last touched by Luke O'Nien. And so now they actually win a VAR. But this will go Spurs' way. Clearly, last touch by Luke O'Nien. Right there. 100% last touch by O'Nien. And of course, O'Nien. For those that watch the documentary on Netflix, Sunderland Till I Die, and that did a very good job of capturing the back-to-back relegations for Sunderland and all the turmoil in the ownership groups, multiple ownership groups, and O'Nien came in during their League One days and has stuck with the team, man. And they're going to say no penalty. So they were actually checking it for a penalty there. And I didn't see a penalty either. To me, that was kind of a non-issue right there. But this will be a Spurs corner. It didn't look like it was a penalty. All right, let's get on with the game now. They're actually not going to give him a corner? Interesting. Oh, man. So, yeah, okay, fine, no penalty, but still the ball goes out of play off of Luke O'Nien. As Roofs will play it long now. As Kinski will come over. Interesting. That's fine. I concede there was no penalty, but come on now. As Kinski will play it long. As that one will come down as Bergvall will make a touch. As the ball will end up with Christian Romero here. All right, let's get up the pitch, goddammit. As Romero will play one. That's going to take a deflection. As Sunderland will end up with the ball here. There's just no good central movement. As the ball continues, oh, here we go. Spurs. We'll get a turnover here. High up. Here's Lucas Bergvall. And now it's Destiny Udogie. 1v1 against Rig. He's going to lay this one off. Here's Archie Gray. And it's Collar Gallagher who'll play one forward. Udogie will try to play one, and it'll take a It'll take a misdirection. That'll go out, so Spurs will get their corner. But there's just no good central movement here, right? You have three midfield players that are just dropped back in a line, and so there's no movement. So, there's no way to progress the ball up the pitch, and so both Romero and Van de Ven are just passing the ball amongst themselves. It's like, dude, get forward. So Pedro Porro now will take the corner. Spurs have all their bodies within inside the 6-yard box. That'll go back post. Headed away. Here's Conor Gallagher. And Conor Gallagher will play one in. If that gets headed down, ooh. And I think it did find Solanke. As Solanke tried to put one on. As Gallagher beat his man to the end line, plays one in. Finds Richarlison, as it did find Solanke, but it looked like there may have been an attempt to pick the back pocket as Robin Roofs ended up with it. But as Sunderland tries to switch, they win the ball. There's a ball forward. Here's Braubery. Oh, that's a good tackle. As that ball will go forward. And now there's a yellow card as they're going to say Christian Romero. That was a good challenge. As Romero came in, that actually was a pretty solid challenge. Yeah, okay, maybe. I didn't think that was yellow card worthy. I actually thought that was a pretty solid challenge right there on by Romero to break up the play. But notwithstanding, there's going to be a free kick now for Sunderland. And Romero can't lose his head at this point. Okay, great. You get the yellow. So it'll be Lefebvre and Granit Xhaka standing over this one. As we are approaching the 28th minute now. As that ball goes forward, it'll go back post. And it'll get out. As it looked like that might have been Mukulele attacking the back post right there. It was actually a really well played ball. And Mukulele just couldn't put it on target. Spurs dodge a bullet here. Spurs will play out of the back, and Kinski will play it long yet again. As that'll hit the central area. Here's Lucas Bergvall. Here's Richarlison. And Granit Xhaka picks his pocket. And now here comes Spurs yet again. And there's going to be a whistle. And this will go against probably Lucas Bergvall. So play resumes as Spurs just stumble their way forward there. The way that Spurs started, clean, aggressive, we have yet to see that as this first half has made its way through, really, for the most part. It's really kind of been all Sunderland. And that's looks like Aldredi tried to play one forward. It takes the deflection. Here's Luke O'Nien now, and he just has space to dribble down that right side. And Spurs are just dropped way back. As they're not keeping anybody forward. And Sunderland can just sit here and just hold the ball. Oh, that's a nice move down the left-hand side. Oh, that's a good ball in. And that'll take a deflection, and it'll get out. So I think this will be a Sunderland throw in here. And through the first 40 minutes, Spurs really just have essentially bunkered. Looks like they're trying to play the counter-attacking game. But that being said, it's like they're not leaving anybody higher up the pitch. Not in a situation where they can win the ball back in a decent area and actually break correctly. As Luke O'Nien will be responsible for this throw, and it looks like they're going to do the long throw here. As that goes in, there's a shot. Ooh, and it goes wide. Granit Xhaka nearly put Sunderland on top here. And they're knocking on the doors. This one will get headed out. It finds Granit Xhaka, who just let it rip, and it just missed the far post. As we see it again, just by 2 inches. And they are knocking on the door here as Sunderland wins it back yet again. And Spurs literally just cannot get out of their own end. And, you know, if we were looking for a different style of play or looking for a potential new bounce, as Pedro Porro now gets elbowed, yeah, there's going to be a foul there. That's got to be a yellow card. As Brian Brobby literally used his elbow. And in some regards, this probably should be a red. As Pedro Porro. And there's the yellow. As Brobby was being harassed. Nah, I guess not. On replay. Yeah, I guess, but it wasn't intentional. Looks like the elbow got a little too high right there. So Spurs will have the free kick here. As we are now about a good 12 minutes from the half, Spurs actually have to make these last 10, 15 minutes count here, as they got to find themselves in good areas. Centrally, haven't really done a good job of using the middle parts of the pitch. Kind of left on the wings as that ball is going to get played out. So this will be a throw-in for Spurs. They're just not – there's no creativity in the center parts of the pitch here. So there's not a lot of good 1-2s to play off. And they are conceding space by playing this back all the goddamn time. That's a good pass by Romero. As Bergvall tries to play it forward, and this is taken away. Nice play by Bergvall. As Gallagher will flip it back. Archie Gray now will try to make the switch to the left-hand side. Picks out a player. Here's Richarlison. Richarlison will play one in. Ooh. Good ball in by Richarlison right there. But Sunderland now will try to break. And now they'll slow things down here. And that's a good ball forward. Here's Rigg. Here's Brobby. That's a good chip forward. Here comes Spurs now on the break. They got 3. Off the right-hand side is Kolo Muani. There's a shot that's going to be deflected. Oh, very good play right there by Van de Ven to take away the space. As it looked like Sunderland Brobby was going to try to thread the needle right there. And Van de Ven closes that shit down quick. Spurs have possession now. Here's Porro. Come on now. Make a play. Make a play. As Van de Ven now will play it forward. Here's Richarlison. Good ball forward. It's Udogie. Plays it in. Headed down. And cleared by Sunderland. And there's going to be a whistle right there. And they're going to say that's against Van de Ven. Oh, Conor Gallagher, they're going to get the yellow card. As Brobby goes down. And you can see the difference, right? They're always going to leave a man high for that, just for that reason. You see it again. And they're going to say this is against Van de Ven. Yeah, that seems like it's a weak yellow. I understand the reasoning. But now both center backs have a yellow now. But you can see it too, right? They're always going to leave Brobby high, right? So when Spurs do get the ability to play something in and get on the attack, right? Brobby's left high. And so from that standpoint, whenever there's a clearance, the ball generally goes to Brobby so they can play off it and they can have their counterattack where they can play off it, right? You're seeing Spurs on the other end dropping everybody so deep. So when everything clears, the only thing that's left are Sunderland center backs higher up the pitch. And it just gives them such a better advantage, especially in these counterattacking opportunities. And it just, it befuddles me that De Zerbi doesn't, leave Solanke high or Richarlison high, just some sort of outlet. As we are pushing now the 38th minute. So this will be a free kick right outside the 18-yard. And it'll be Xhaka. As Spurs desperately need to defend this. You don't want to concede this close to the half. Stuart Scott, why Spurs? Why not, man? Why not? As we are getting set for this free kick here. Let's go, Tony. Come on, Tony. And that one will clear the crossbar with ease. So wasted opportunity for Sunderland. It's been. I'll be perfectly honest. This has been a disappointing first half for Spurs. From the way that they started, from what they were trying to do, you kind of liked it. That's as Luke O'Nien will take that away from Dominic Solanke. From the way that they started, from what they look like they were trying to accomplish, they have very much relented possession from that point on. Sunderland has just been in all the right spots. They have controlled the tempo. They have essentially dictated this match on their terms. And like in this sequence right here, look how many yellow shirts are behind the ball. All of them. Here's Lefay. Plays it in. That's taken away. And now here comes Spurs on the break. It's going to be Richarlison against Siddiqui. And Richarlison comes away with it. And Richarlison couldn't do much with that one, as he was essentially forced to play it right to Robin Roofs right there, as he was dancing along the end line right there. But he did beat it. Looks like he beat Siddiqui, as he was looking for somebody to pass it to, and he couldn't do much of anything right there. It's disappointing. As this will be a goal kick for Sunderland, as we are now in the 41st minute. As Sunderland's been knocking on the ball, knocking on the door. Just look at the ease in which they're able just to work it right through the middle of the park. Hot knife through butter. And they're just able to set up with ease. I guess credit Spurs defensively, they've been okay. As it looks like they're defensively set up in a 4-4-2. That's a nice little sliding tackle right there. Spurs will come away with it. There you go. Play it forward. Here's Mwani. And are they going to give Mwani the free kick? As we see it again, Mwani comes in on Aldredi. As Mwani just was trying to play it forward, they're going to say no. This will be a goal kick. Yeah, this has been dreadful. Spurs just aren't getting numbers forward. As there's a turnover right there. Last touch by Sunderland, so this will get out off of Lefebvre. As Porro now will play it all the way back to Mickey Van de Ven. Jesus, look how deep they're playing. And they're just playing it between center backs. So like nobody is making an attempt to get forward here. And now Porro is going to play one long here. And it's the return of the long ball again. As this one will get all the way down. I think this is going to be a corner here. Last touch by Granit Xhaka. Yeah, there is just no movement in the middle parts of the pitch where either Romero or Porro can play off of. And so what we're seeing is just a lot of side to side ball movement from Spurs. And eventually you're just going to see people taking, right there. It was a perfect example of Pedro Porro yet again just taking a long shot. So this will be Spurs' second corner, as Porro will play one in, as that'll come out. As Gallagher will move it to the right-hand side. It's Porro again. Plays one in. As this will get out as well, too. I think it was last touch by Dominic Solanke. Yeah, it was. Solanke got his foot on it. Just in a bad position right there. Good Lord, why do I do this? Why do I follow this fucking goddamn football team? Looks like Forest and Villa are tied up at 1. Newcastle looks like they're leading Crystal Palace 1-0. As Sunderland will play this forward, but right there is Romero. Heads it forward. We are in now in extra time here. There'll be 5 minutes. as there's going to be a whistle as Brobby goes down again. And that'll be against Romero. And, of course, he's got to watch himself as Romero's sitting on a yellow. Brian Brobby is a bitch. Any opportunity to hit the deck. God, he's a bitch. As this will be a free kick for Sunderland now. Pretty decent area here as it'll be Granit Xhaka. And it's going to be interesting to see what De Zerbi's going to do at the half as this ball will go in. It'll take a header down. Oh, good save right there by Kinski. As that second chance opportunity right there will take a block and get out. So this will be a Sunderland throw-in, but that ball actually landed in a good spot for Sunderland. After the header, it was Brobby, and Kinski came out and made a great save on Brobby right there. And it looked like it kind of hit him off the nuts right there. As this header will get cleared. But again, there's nobody playing high. And so Sunderland will just get possession right back. As play will continue. That's a good ball taken away. And now there's going to be a whistle, a late whistle against Bergvall. Against Diarra. That's horse shit. Blow the whistle in real time if there's a foul. Don't let the ball progress only to blow the whistle late. God damn it. So again, free kick for Sunderland. As we are getting close now to the 47.5 mark. As Xhaka will play this one in. Headed away. There's a shot in. That'll take a deflection, and now Spurs will clear. And that ball will find Robin Roofs. And Roofs now will play it forward. And there's going to be a whistle right there against Udoji. And that'll be Aldrete. So Spurs will have possession now. Let's see if Spurs can actually do anything with the ball. As this one will go long. Kept in. Ball forward. Good good ball in the box. There's a shot. Ooh, and that's going to be saved by Roofs. That ball found Dominic Solanke. Good ball in right there. And that was a good through ball right there to Udoji off the left-hand side who plays one in. And it was initially deflected by Aldrete, but it found Dominic Solanke right there. And it was Robin Roofs with a good save right there. Not bad right there. That's a good little 1-2 down the left-hand side. Between Richarlison and Udoji. So this will be a Spurs corner. This will be their third. As this one will go in. As that's going to be headed up and over. And it was going to be off of Romero there. So that'll get out for a goal kick as we're approaching now the 50th minute. As we're getting close to halftime now. Ten seconds. On the one hand, and there's the halftime whistle. On the one hand, you would have to say that defensively Spurs have done a good job, especially against the set pieces. There was a couple opportunities there as the ball did find Brobry a few times. And Kinski did a very good job of stopping those shots. Granit Xhaka had a look that went wide, just barely. But that being said, all things considered, Spurs defensively have been pretty solid. On the attacking side, within the first 5 minutes, you can see exactly what Spurs were going to try to do. This lineup, in essence, was put out to utilize their speed. They were going to play balls forward, get into space, try to play balls in. And in the first 5 minutes, you can see exactly what they were going to do. And it looked pretty solid. But as we got into the 15th, the 20th minute, Spurs literally just conceded possession and bunkered. And make it, when you're playing that style of football, it makes it increasingly hard to break because of where you're breaking, right? Because we don't have players higher up the pitch, we can't make those challenges. And in essence, we're not going to be able to get decent turnovers in areas where, we're going to be able to get, players forward, right? It's where you're going to win that ball back, right? And so from that standpoint, where we're winning the ball back is further back. And from that standpoint, all Sunderland has to do is just press the ball carrier. And there were multiple times where Sunderland won it back in very good positions. And so from that standpoint, I'd like to see players committed forward. Like, Solanke and Richarlison can stay forward. I'd much rather have those guys stay forward, move your midfield up a little bit. Same thing with your defensive line, and don't worry about the over-the-top ball because you have two central defenders that actually can defend over the top, right? You don't need to worry about the over-the-top, right? Worry about those central areas where the ball is progressing, right? Put bodies in passing lanes, win balls back, and give yourself a better chance when it comes to the counterattack. The other thing is we just don't have any creative players on the pitch. As of right now, it looks like there's potential rotating tens between Conor Gallagher and Lucas Bergvall, right? And those guys have been invisible as far as I'm concerned. So there really isn't that creative piece that's in central areas that actually can create space or play off of. So it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to see Xavi Simons come off at the halftime. I would also like to see Matisse Tell get into this game at some point because Richarlison. I'll give Richarlison some credit. He actually looks pretty good on the ball so far. He's actually his distribution with the overlapping Udogie actually has been pretty solid. I would like to keep Richarlison on the pitch, but that being said, Kolo Muani. I would like to see Kolo Muani come off the pitch. That's just me. All right, let's go ahead and get into the halftime stats on this one. Let's see. All right. Possession-wise, Sunderland's leading the possession battle 54 to 46%. XG 1.35 for Sunderland, 0.76 for Spurs. Total shots is even at 7. Shots on target, Spurs 3, Sunderland 1. Big chances 2-1. Sunderland missed both of their big chances. Spurs also missed their one big chance. Accurate passes 153, 133 for Sunderland. Fouls committed, Spurs 7, Sunderland 6. Corners, Spurs lead that one 3-2. XG from open play, Spurs 0.59 to Sunderland's 0.56. XG on set play 0.79 for Sunderland to 0.17. As we're looking at shots inside the box, Spurs 7, Sunderland 5. So in some respects, that's actually encouraging to see. They're at least trying to put something on target inside the box. Outside the box, 2-0 to Sunderland. Total passes, 193 Sunderland, Spurs 167. Passes in the own half, 89 for Spurs, 56 for Sunderland, because Sunderland is progressing the ball forward while we are just shuffling between two center backs. Opposition half, and this is telling, right? Sunderland 97, Spurs 44. Who's progressing the ball forward? They are. Accurate long balls, Spurs 12, Sunderland 8. That's nice. Accurate crosses 4-2 Spurs. Throws are even at 5. Touches in the opposition box 14-10 to Spurs. Yellow card, Spurs 3, Sunderland 1. And that is a little bit iffy for me because 2 of those yellow cards are split between Nicky Van de Ven and Christian Romero. And so from that standpoint, it's squeaky bum time for those 2 center backs. We almost have to be perfect in that area. Defensively, the tackle battle. Sunderland is leading 5-2. Interceptions are even at 6. Spurs have 2 blocks to Sunderland's 1. Spurs have 12 clearances to Sunderland 7. And keeper save, Sunderland 3, Spurs 1. So that lets you know that Robin Roofs has been a little bit more active. The duel battle is even at 15. Ground duels, Sunderland 12, Spurs 9. Aerial duels, 6-3 Spurs. And successful dribbles, 2-0 to Spurs. So from that standpoint, when it comes to possession, obviously Sunderland has done a better job, and they're also progressing the ball in areas where we unfortunately have conceded that space. And so that to me is alarming because Sunderland can literally just move the ball with ease, and then Spurs will bunker. I don't think that's necessarily a good way to play. Granted, I'm also not the head coach, so one of the things that I didn't like was the fact that Roberto De Zerbi was talking all this shit in the press about the level of talent, and it's like, okay, cool, man. You do have forward players that could potentially change the outcome of this game, and so from that standpoint, man, put them in a little bit better a position, right? Use that midfield to make those challenges, and not necessarily concede those central areas, right? Disrupt the passing lanes a little bit, win some balls higher up the pitch, and just push forward. This team will look a little bit better in those areas by doing so. I just think that Spurs might be used to playing the style of football, which I get it. They're on the road. They're in a hostile environment. I get it. But, do you want to win or do you want to draw? That's kind of where I'm looking at this one. All right, let's take a look real quick. Let's take a look around the Premier League. Oh, yeah. And so obviously West Ham got things kicked off with a 4-0 victory over Wolves. And that put Spurs 2 points below the drop. Konstantinos Mavropanos hit a brace in the 42nd and 83rd, and Valentin Castellano also hit a brace for West Ham in the 66th and 68th minute as the Hammers put the hammer down on Wolves. And so from that standpoint, that's what makes this matchup so unbelievably important for Spurs. They have to keep pace. Bournemouth at the Emirates beats Arsenal. And so this almost feels like the start of an Arsenal bottle job. And by the way, if they're able to do the quadruple in reverse, that is talent. That is absolute talent as they bottle off both domestic cups. And it looks like they're going to bottle it looks like they're potentially going to bottle the Champions League and the Premier League. I actually would think that would be absolutely fantastic. I would think that would be so fantastic. It takes a level of talent to bottle 4 different competitions. Eli Jr. Krupi scored in the 17th, and Alex Scott in the 74th. Victor Yorkerish scored a penalty in the 35th, and so Bournemouth takes all 3 points from the Emirates. Fantastic. Everton drew even with Brentford 2-2 as Igor Thiago. And by the way, if we're looking for a striker, that's the dude that you want to get if you're Spurs, is Igor Thiago. The dude is unbelievable. Scored in the 36th on a third minute on a penalty in the 76th minute. For the Toffees, Beto scored in the 26th, and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall scored in the 90+1 for the Toffees as they earn a decent point right there from the G-Tech. Brighton beat Burnley 2-0 as Mats Wiefer scored in the 43rd and 89th minute as Brighton, who I believe is our next opponent, gets 3 points away at Burnley. Liverpool beat Fulham 2-0 yesterday as Rio Nguma scored in the 36th minute and Mohamed Salah on the 40th as the Cottagers couldn't even get a point at Anfield yesterday. Such is life. At the half right now, William Osula scored in the 43rd minute. Let's go Eagles. And looks like Villa and Forest are knotted. 1-1 at the half as Villa got an own goal as Murillo popped one in and Neco Williams scored for Forest. So that's where that is currently. Later today, Chelsea versus Man City. So I guess we're rooting for Man City right now. I would love it if Man City win the league and then get relegated because of the 115 charges. I'm hearing that ruling is going to come down sooner rather than later. And I would love to see Arsenal bottle it, Man City win it, and then they get relegated because of the bullshit that they pulled. Also, tomorrow, Manchester United will host Leeds. That is tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern. And I hate to say it, but let's go United. I don't want Leeds to win. All right, so that is your look around the Premier League as we're getting started for the second half. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out for Spurs because it is going to be a sprint to the end of the season. And one of the things that this team needs is goals. And I don't give a shit where they come from, but one of the things that Roberto De Zerbi's job is confidence because this team is low on it and the ability to get forward and scoring goals. We are not going to be able to pull this off unless somebody steps up and grabs this team by the scruff of the neck and starts scoring goals, right? So that means Richarlison, that means Dominic Solanke, and this also means Xavi Simons as well too. He's going to play a pivotal role because right now, as it stands, he's our most creative forward player. That is until James Maddison gets back, and who knows exactly how that's going to look like when he does finally get back on the pitch. But that being said, man, we're going to have to figure out a way to do it. And I understand that it's not going to be easy considering that this team just doesn't score goals. The last time Spurs won in the Premier League by scoring 2 or more goals was in December against Brentford at home. That was the last time that we scored in the Premier League, multiple goals in a winning effort. When you look at the Premier League from that point forward, yes, we've had 2-goal performances outside the Premier League. We've done it in the Champions League. Okay, fair. I think one of them was Dortmund. The other one was Frankfurt. And then, we did it against, Atletico Madrid. But the reality is, in the Premier League, for whatever reason, there seems to be some sort of disconnect because from that point forward, like we just score a goal. That's it. Like we'll get a goal. Well, I think the last time we did score 2 goals in a non-winning situation was against Manchester City at home. We scored 2 to come back into that one. But again, we just don't score multiple goals, and we're going to have to figure out a way to get over that hurdle if we're going to stay up. But make no mistake, if we lose this game today, it's over. It's over. Stranger things have happened, right? But that being said, it's like, the way that I look at this is that, Sunderland have done a good job this season. They're sitting on 44 points. Congratulations. But they're also sitting in 13th place. And let's not sit here and act like, they're a top 5 team. They don't have that upper echelon type of talent to be considered one of those type of teams. They're a physical team. They get after it. Fantastic. But we should be able to get a result against Sunderland. And that is going to come with showing some fucking bravery. You know what I mean? Most of these dudes have 2 balls swinging between their legs, man. Let's actually show some. Let's get forward. Let's try things. Let's be creative. Let's show a little fight. Let's show a little bravery. And let's score some goddamn goals and get this thing over the line. The time for fucking around is over. It's over. We absolutely cannot afford to drop this game. All right, as we're getting for the start of the second half now. Let's see. Hunter Queen. Thoughts on what Sporting KC should do going forward? Sporting KC needs goals as well, too. I do like Joveljic. Joveljic is a good player, but Sporting KC doesn't have any type of quality around him. And so, unfortunately, he's kind of left on an island. But, Sporting KC are in the very beginning of a rebuild. And so that thing is going to take time. Good question, though. As we are getting set now for the start of the second half, as Sunderland will be playing from right to left. And they're holding possession, and we are kicking off now in the second half with Sunderland holding possession. As that ball will get switched to the right. As that ball will be flicked back. As Spurs try to play it forward now. And that's going to be headed down. And Spurs will come away with it. It's for Richarlison down the left-hand side. And that's going to take a deflection out. So Spurs will have a throw-in. Good hustle right there by Richarlison. As on the ground. It looks like it might be Mukalele. As he's going to get up there. There you go. There you go, pal. As it looks like Spurs have not made any switches at the half. As they will continue to roll with this one. The question is for how long, as that one's going to go out as well, too. As Granit Xhaka is, acting like that went off a Spurs player. So Bergvall now will have the throw-in. The first 10 minutes of the second half are going to be key for Spurs. Can they start this half quick? Get a goal, get some momentum. And we'll find out as Bergvall will play this one in. As that'll bounce around, it finds Mwani, who just pops it straight up. There's going to be a whistle as Granit Xhaka is down. God, come on now. Let's go, boys. As Robin Roofs now will play this one. Down the right-hand side, that's a good touch. As that ball pops forward, Udoji will play it down. As Richarlison hits the deck, he was looking for a call. He's not going to get it. As this one will go back to Luke O'Nien, who plays it back to Roofs. And he's under duress, so Roofs will play it forward. That's going to be a turnover. Richarlison does a good job. Oh. And Conor Gallagher just loses the ball. Good Lord. As there's a ball in. And that's going to take a clearance. That's a good little flick right there. As Kolomwani is going to try to get around Aldrete. And there's going to be a whistle. As Mwani will hit the deck there. And he doesn't get it. He looks like he's not getting the call. As he came around, and it looked like it was, Riendo right there. Oh yeah, okay, he did get the call. Okay, I was gonna say because that was a clear foul. As Archie Gray now will play it forward. Here's Connor. Here's Bergvall. Bergie plays it forward. Here's Richarlison. Oh, too heavy for a touch, and it allows O'Nien to come in and clear it away. As Richarlison was there. Oh. It just took a heavy touch as O'Nien was able to get there and clear this thing away. Good defense right there by O'Nien. But this will lead to a Spurs corner here. Let's see. How did you get a wife? Need some tips? Zhang Yu, as Sunderland will have the possession. As we're now approaching the 50th minute now, 5 minutes have passed. As Spurs attacking wise, it's been left to be desired. As Sunderland again are just able to play forward with ease. Spurs are just conceding so much space. There's a good ball in, but coming over is Van de Ven. That's good defense by Mickey, as that'll go out. So that'll be a throw-in for Sunderland. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. All of the homies on TikTok Live. It's good to see you guys. All those that are tuning in via X, Facebook, and of course YouTube. I do appreciate you guys. Love the support. Do me a favor, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell as well too. We have some good stuff coming up here on Stateside Footy. And of course, tomorrow I will be joined by Jeff Lageson of Prost International as we debate the U.S. men's national team roster and what that's going to look like later in the week. I will have Billy T from After the Whistle and Change for Tottenham. He'll be joining me next weekend as we talk a little bit about De Zerbi and the first two matches under his stewardship. So that's going to be interesting. As that ball gets popped forward, as Bergvall tries to chase it down, and Aldretti was just right there. A lot of good stuff coming up on the channel, so definitely make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As that ball gets played out, I think this is going to be a Spurs throw-in. As of right now, it just looks like Spurs are looking for something. On the attacking side, there's a long ball. Trying to thread the needle. They actually find it. As Udoji will hit the deck. No whistle. Why do I support Tottenham? That's a good question, Lawton. I support Tottenham because, honestly, my brother's an Arsenal fan. And I absolutely hate Arsenal. And this was, essentially from the very beginning, 98, 99. I used to party with my brother like on Friday nights, and we would smoke blunts and drink, and we'd have a good time. And on I remember staying the night, Friday, Saturday night, and like clockwork, every Sunday he would wake up at 6 o'clock to watch the Gunners. And I just remember I absolutely hated Arsene Wenger, and Dennis Bergkamp, Anella, Lucas Anella, what's his ass? David Seaman and all those guys, man. Just never was Paul Merson. Just was never really a big fan of Arsenal. Didn't like their colors, didn't like their fans, and so I remember going on an early. Oh, here we go. Here's Sunderland. Oh, that's good deflection right there. So Spurs will take over. I remember going on an early search engine like Ask Jeeves and some of those type of places to find out who Arsenal's rival was, and it was Spurs. And that's when I got into Spurs, is that shot will go over the crossbar. And that's how I became a Spurs fan, because my brother is an Arsenal supporter. That's how it was. And I've been hooked ever since. And plus, I was always a big fan of the underdogs. Most of the teams that I played on weren't the best. And I always liked the idea of having something to prove. Like, if you want to win something, you have to earn it. And everything about Tottenham was, fit the bill. Let's see. CGCPORET 166. I'm going to leave. My son is a Black Cats fan. Okay, man. I actually like Sunderland. I don't have anything against the Black Cats. I actually, I got a soft spot for Sunderland. And I like the fact that they came up and they're going to stay up.
Sunderland's a staple of the Premier League. As Spurs do a good job of taking that away, and will come away with the ball. Yeah, there's going to be a foul right there as Udoshi comes in to try to play it forward, and he's going to be hammered right there by Siddiqui. Lawton LAD, North London will always be red. Yeah, okay. They're going to bottle it this year, though. Yeah, and by the way, it's like, right now Spurs are so dog shit that, it's not really much of a right. In order for it to be a rivalry, there has to be give and take, right? And so, Arsenal has essentially dominated it the last couple seasons. Let's see. Been an Arsenal fan since I can remember. I actually want Spurs to stay up because there won't be. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I love the North London derby. I was in London in February to watch the second leg, and that was such an amazing experience. And of course, I'll be going back to London quite often now. But to see a North London derby from the stadium, that was amazing. Is that over the top ball will get past the end line? So this will be a Sunderland goal kick. But yeah, it was great, man. Watching it on TV does absolutely no justice, right? So to be there in the stadium, to have that experience, right? To see the away supporters in the corner, to see the South Stand just absolutely going batshit crazy. There was a stupid grin on my face for a couple hours there. That was something I'll never forget, that first time at a derby. And you're right, man. It is one of the most fiercest derbies. I would agree. Even when Spurs are bad, and same thing with Arsenal. The two teams seem to bring out the best. I would agree with that. I gotta say, the North London neighborhood, a little bit different than I was expecting. I did make it down. I did make it down there by Highbury. That was a cool little neighborhood. I will say that. As Sunderland will play in this free kick, as it'll drop, as Spurs try to clear it now, as that's headed forward. And it will come down, and they're going to say Kolo Muani got a hand on it. So this one will go back to Sunderland. As looks like Spurs are going to make a double switch here. As João Palhinha, a triple switch. João Palhinha, Matisse Tell, and Papsar look like they're going to be checking in for Spurs. And I'm glad too. We got about 30 minutes left, and Spurs need something. As this will be a free kick from inside the circle at the midway line. Let's see. By the way, Lawton, is the LAD, as that ball will go in, and that'll get out. Is the LAD in your handle for the LA Dodgers? Is that what that is? Let me tell you, it's easy to be a front runner. Try being a Mariners fan for 40 years. As play resumes. As Spurs are going to try to build this one up. That's a nice little flick. And now they're going to make this switch to the left-hand side. Here's Richarlison in the box. Richarlison tries to play it in. Oh, good idea right there by Richarlison as he makes his defender. That ball tests Robin Roofs. Good idea right there by Richarlison. Tried to play one forward because Solanke was right there to clean it up. I like that. As here comes Sunderland. And they're going to have to play this one back to Roofs, and he does. As here's Luke O'Nien. I am kind of an O'Nien guy. As that's a nice little 1-2. As this one goes down the right-hand side. Sunderland cutting in. Ooh. And there's a shot that's going to take a deflection. Oh, and it goes in. Oh. God damn it. Oh. As Sunderland grabs the lead in this one at the 60th minute mark. All right, it's about how you respond now. And it looks like it deflected off of Mickey Van de Ven. And of course, Kinski was caught a little bit out on his line. As we see it again. And it looked like it might have been, Mukalele cutting in off the right-hand side. He takes a shot and it takes a deflection. Who was it deflected off of? Yeah, it looks like it was deflected off of Van de Ven. And it was redirected, and Kinski was nowhere near it. I see. Nah, Lad is another. Okay, so the LAD is for Lad. Okay, I got you. Bud. Nah, you're a pretty good dude, man. I'm glad you're sticking around today, man. So Mukalele will get credit for the goal there. And now Sunderland will take a 1-0 lead. Let's see if Spurs can respond here. As now all of a sudden this situation's gotten a lot harder. As there's a ball down the left-hand side. Here's Matisse Tell. And there's no whistle right there. As Mukalele absolutely clobbers Matisse Tell. And now on the other side of the pitch, Pedro Porro collides with Tony Kinski. And this is now just Keystone Cops bullshit. Oh, it's Romero. Okay. So both Kinski and Romero are down. And Tell's down on the opposite side of the pitch because he was absolutely mauled by Mukalele. Now, I'm not necessarily the one to, take a piss out of the refs, but good Lord, this has been some of the worst officiating I've seen in quite some time. As Kinski is down, Romero is down. Let's see. $20 says they both get back up, no issues. Yeah, I think you're probably right, man. This is much to do about nothing. This is what we like to call giving your side a breather. Because momentum is shot. If anything, all this does is just add extra time to the end of the match as Kinski is being looked after. But yeah, I was saying it at the halftime. This team needs to be brave. And again, we're starting to see, the same patterns as we saw in the first half. And, this team, again, isn't getting forward the way that they ought to be. I hate time wasting regardless of the team. Oh yeah, no, I hear you, man. I absolutely hate flopping and things like this to stop the flow of the game. It's actually one of the things that, as far as I'm concerned, ruin the sport. It gives players a bad name because obviously when I see it, I just automatically just assume they're soft. Ugh. I also believe you should get a straight red for diving. Yeah, I actually would be okay with that as well too. At the very least, a yellow. At the very least, a yellow for it. Because again, man, the one way you have to do it is make it a deterrent. Maybe a straight red might be a little aggressive. But that being said, it's like, how else are you going to be able to send a message so from that standpoint, man, I'm kind of with you. Definitely a yellow as a caution. You do it again, you're done. And there's going to be players that will test it, that will try to test it. But that being said, it's like, these new age refs ref by the book, right? And so from that standpoint, if there is the yellow as a deterrent, you better be prepared to pull it again. Let's see. Dan Davenport says, so disappointing we had to concede. Yeah, it was a bad way to concede. Without a doubt, that was a bad way to concede. I would expect it to be difficult. Yeah, I did too. But that being said, it's like, you look at the players that we have available, and it's disappointing, man. It's disappointing that me personally, I think De Zerbi got it wrong. You kind of want to have a mixture of, as Kinski gets the head treatment here, as he gets the head wrap. Come on, Tony. You're Croatian, goddammit. You're supposed to be tough as shit. Get up, bud. Get up and play it with that headband on, man. I can hear the Rocky theme song. He's Croatian, man. There's some of the baddest dudes on the planet. Oh yeah, okay. I see. There is some blood there. I was expecting expecting a tough game as well too, because Sunderland is a tough team, man. They are a very physical team that like to get after it. But that being said, I was expecting a solid mixture of creativity, pace, and attacking prowess in this one. And De Zerbi, play with Archie Gray, Bergvall, and Connor Gallagher as your midfield three, and there's between the three of them, there's not really all that much creativity. And so from that standpoint, that definitely played out quite a bit, right? So they're using pace down both sides with Richarlison and Kolo Muani. Kolo Muani has been useless. Pedro Porro, haven't really seen a lot of Pedro Porro really invading those spots, right? One of the things that those spots higher up the pitch, one of the things that you want to see though, coming from De Zerbi's mouth is like he wants to hold possession. Okay, cool. Right. Well, you're going to have the players on the pitch in order to hold possession, the accurate players. And we just, I don't think De Zerbi got it right today. At times, this attack has looked somewhat decent, but it's been inconsistent. And it looks like Romero's coming off. I was hoping we were just going to see I was hoping we were going to see a team that was just going to get forward. And if Sunderland were going to try things, they're going to try things, right? That's fine. We had as Romero's coming off the pitch, he's crying. As Danso will come in as we are approaching now the 70th minute. If that's the thing, it's like I wasn't like I just wanted us to worry about us. and get forward and just try things. Be brave. Try to break Sunderland down, get into areas, and utilize some of our creative pieces and just be brave. And it seemed like we were just a little too conservative for our britches. But here's a ball down the left-hand side. It's going to go to Matisse Tell. Udogie's on the overlap. Here's Tell as he lays it off to Connor. And Gallagher is now going to play one. And that one will fly to Kolo Muani, who keeps it in. Here's Kolo trying to get around. And that's last touched. By Rienildo. So this will be a corner. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, Lawton. I call it like I see it, man. I don't. Here's the thing about being a Spurs fan, right? Like, as this ball will go in, and that'll very much damn near clear the 18-yard box, as Sunderland will come away with it. Spurs will hold possession as that one gets played back to Tony. Here's the thing, like, being a Spurs fan for as long as I have, the only time where there was an expectation for winning was underneath Pochettino, because we were just so good. And when you have a dude like Harry Kane at the peak of his powers, you can actually dare to dream big. But outside of that, it has been shit. It really has been just a downward trend to where we're at now. And so, the expectation has to be adjusted. And I'm going to call it exactly like I see it. When this team does good things, I'll give them praise, and when they don't, they won't. That's it. Meanwhile, Arsenal, continues to get better, although they haven't won shit since the FA Cup. I think it was 2020. Man City has bought their way, to their success, and hopefully they'll get the justice that. Hopefully they get the justice that we all deserve, for circumnavigating. I hope Chelsea gets taken a peg down. Here's Matisse Tell as Tell loses his footing. And I think there is going to be a whistle here. It also doesn't help that we're run by two of the worst executives in global football. We have a former Arsenal CEO in Vinny Venkatesham that should only be concerned with the business side, and we have a guy in Johan Lang that has already proven that he can't build a Big Six club at all. He's in over his head, and yet these two jackasses, continue to be allowed to have this type of influence on this club, and it does, it just doesn't help. As there's a turnover right here. Luckily, Spurs will come away with it. Yeah, it's been tough, man. It's I'll give you a good example. Is Ange Postecoglou gets a lot of hate, and the funny thing is, when Ange was hired, I was like, listen, this is a good hire if certain things happen. And if you know anything about Ange Postecoglou and his stops along the way as he's progressed higher up there's a ball through, and Kinski will come out and clean it up. Ooh, good job by Kinski. But his teams were generally older. The average age was somewhere around 27. So guys that were in his prime, and he had large squad sizes because the way that he plays, he likes to heavily rotate. Think about when Ange came in. Not only did we not actually back him, but we waited the entire summer window to sell Harry Kane on, and we didn't get enough time to bring in a proper striker. And in that first season, we finished 5th without a proper striker. Sonny was playing up top for a good majority. He's not a striker, but he was forced to play that position. And in the January window, the answer was Timo Werner. That obviously didn't work out. But that being said, he finishes 5th in that first season to bring us back to Europe. And, instead of properly backing him again, he was given Dominic Solanke and 3 teenagers. And, we suffered one of the worst injury crises that I've ever seen. I think at one point we had 13 first-team players out for a duration of like 4 months. And I don't even care. I don't care if you're Jurgen Klopp, Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola. Nobody's going to win with that many first-team players out. And even through all of that, we end up winning our first European trophy in 40 years. And there was serious momentum heading into this season. And what does Johan Lang do? He sacks Ange Postecoglou off the back of a European trophy, only so he can bring in his Danish brother, Thomas Frank, into the fold. And, Thomas Frank just wasn't ready to be in charge of a team like Tottenham. And of course, he plays a conservative defensive style when this club is, and its DNA is an attacking style of football. We've always been that. And of course, that didn't work out. The commitment, that didn't work out. And of course, dipshit McGee, instead of pulling the trigger in January, which Manchester United did, rightfully so, that's what good teams do. They recognize there's a problem. They take care of it. And they bring in a guy like, Michael Carrick, who gets a tune out of them. We wait. We wait until it's, far too late, only to replace him with a guy in Igor Tudor, who just, clearly just didn't work. I mean, these are the decision makers that run our club. So not only have we, not only did we kill our own momentum, but, we still continue to not back our coaches. And it shows, man. That this last January window was criminal. Absolutely criminal what happened. And that's where we're at, man. That's where we're at. And it's unfortunate that, we're potentially going to get relegated. I say potentially because it's not over yet, but it's looking like it. Here's Kolo Muani. There's a ball in, and that automatically gets cleared out. As Sunderland now will officially clear this thing out. It's been a horror show, and if it does come to fruition, as they're going to whistle Pedro Porro. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. Yeah. Let's see. Dan Davenport says, which World Cup matches am I going to see? As of right now, I want to get back to Seattle for US versus Australia. That is the dream because it's being played in my hometown. But as of yet, I still don't have a ticket because I'm waiting to, see if common sense takes over and ticket prices drop. But it doesn't look like that, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be in town. Let's see. We failed to win trophies under Poch, though. Yeah, we did. But we also set our own points record. We also got to a Champions League final. And we're literally playing the best football that we've ever played in the history of our club, minus the trophies. He says, I love Poch to bits, though. I do, too. I love that he's my national team head coach. I never thought that would ever happen. And I didn't hate Ange. Yeah, I didn't hate Ange either, my guy. I absolutely loved Ange, and I followed Ange Postecoglou from his days in Australia. I remember when he was the Australian national team coach, and he actually won a trophy with Australia. That doesn't happen. Like, Australia is not a good national team. They have their moments. Why did Kinski punch that out? There you go. Oh, that tried to clear it out. As Sunderland will hold possession now off the right-hand side. That's going to take a deflection. That'll go out. Yeah, like Postecoglou winning a trophy with Australia is phenomenal. And then, of course, every step of the way he wins. He always won trophies. It's like, dude, you always trust the dude that has trophies in his trophy case because he knows what he's doing. No, I have not met Jack in Seattle. I have not. Jack's a good dude, though. Wouldn't mind having a beer with him. It just never worked out when I was back in Seattle. As we're in the 80th minute now, as Sunderland still clinging to a 1-0 lead. Oh, that's a good ball. And that takes a deflection out. As Chris Rigg got on the end of that one as Van de Ven came over. To make that deflection, but good Lord, man. This thing is getting down to the nitty-gritty as we're now in the 81st minute. It looks like Sunderland's going to make a couple switches now. As Sunderland currently leads 1-0 off a redirection off of Mickey Van de Ven. That's currently where we're at now. I'm excited. So Dan Davenport says, I'm excited to be for Coventry City to be back in the Prem after nearly 30 years. Yeah, I actually am too. And credit to their head coach, what's his name? Former Chelsea player, Frank Lampard. He's done a good job, man. He's done a good job with Coventry City. And I'm excited as well, too, because Haji Wright gets an opportunity to play in the Prem. And, Haji has certainly had himself a good season as this ball's nearly turned over. They just haven't been able to handle Sunderland's mid-press, man. They're doing a good job as this ball is going to get forward. That's a nice little flick on in the box. And again, no whistle. Spurs will have possession here as they're taking it off the half turn. As it looks like Mwani tried to drive into the box as that ball's taken away. So okay. So you live 35 miles south of Coventry. Yeah. Listen, man, Coventry is kind of a fun team. I've watched a lot of Coventry this season because obviously Haji, right? So I follow a lot of U.S. players. But just the style of play in which Lampard likes to play, it's pleasant on the eye, and they have some ballers, man. That's what I like about them for the championship level, man. They got some ballers and they're playing pretty well. Same thing with Middlesbrough. Borough has done well, and it looks like Mwani again tried to beat Riendo around the corner and couldn't do it. As Spurs are going to try to press again forward. Sunderland has a man down. Off the left-hand side, here's Tell. Tell's going to try to play one, and that is that was Udogie. And Udogie just puts one into orbit there. Ooh. Let's see. Middlesbrough has been pretty good. Who's been exciting, man, down in the championship is Millwall. Millwall's been surprising, man. I kind of like it. I kind of like what they've done.
speaking of which, just as we're waiting for this one to come out, as Xavi has come onto the pitch now. Yeah, so, and, Millwall is only 2 points away from automatic. Ipswich has been somewhat surprising. I actually didn't think Ipswich would be this good, but 75 points through 40 games. They're playing unbelievable football. Coventry's got the 10 point lead, and hopefully they'll able to hold this one out. But Millwall's been fantastic. Borough's been fantastic, although Middlesbrough's been somewhat falling flat on their face recently. But Southampton, good Lord, Southampton has made a charge. 69 points. They're playing well. Hull City, man. Hull City. And I didn't see Hull City. Again, I think Hull is also on a transfer embargo as well, too. And the work that Hull City has done to put themselves in a good position to make the playoffs, you have to be impressed. But yeah, Wrexham is the surprise team because, I think a lot of people were just expecting Wrexham to consolidate at this level and, set the tone potentially for next season. But Wrexham, it was like between November and February that Wrexham started playing very good football and started climbing the table. They still are in a position. I think they're only 4 points behind Hull City for that final final playoff spot. And I think they lost today to Birmingham. If I'm correct, I think they lost 2-0. Let's see. Yeah, they lost 2-0 to Birmingham. And that was kind of a big loss too, because Hull City lost to Sheffield United. Those fucking Blades. And it looks like there is some controversy here, as Brobby is saying that he got fouled here, as we're now approaching the 87th minute now. As Granit Xhaka is going to try to talk the ref into a foul, as we see it again, as that was a good ball in. And he's saying that Kevin Danso. Nah, that wasn't. Yeah, you're not gonna get a foul on that one. As it eventually finds home dude at the far post, but no, that's not going to be a foul. As Spurs come away with possession here. And here comes Sunderland now, off a turnover. Oh, good sliding tackle right there. And Sunderland will control the ball here down the left-hand side. Good ball. Oh, and it went right off Tony Kinski's line. That was cleared. As looks like O'Nien will play this back to Robin Roofs. As we are getting close now to the end of regulation time here, as we're about a minute and a half. I would probably assume we're going to get about 6 minutes of stoppage time. As Spurs lose control of the ball yet again. There's a ball through. A little bit of heavy touch right there. Spurs come away with it. Here's Udoji. As Udoji will play it forward. Here's Xavi. He's got space. He's driving forward. As here's Matisse Tell now off the left-hand side. Tell cuts. Tries to play one. Back post. That's going to get out with Riendo. I think this is going to be a corner for Spurs. Let's see. Yeah, Birmingham are another team who would get to the Premier. Yeah, I think so. Birmingham has a pretty solid ownership group. Let's see. Yeah, man, you can do a watch along with me. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah, just hit me up.
here. Let me throw up a banner here. Hit me up on X on the or on Instagram at either of these. Hit me a DM, man, and we'll get it done, man. I would actually wouldn't have a problem with you at all joining the watch along, Stan. Yeah. I would have no problem, man. That would be fun. And that goes for all you guys out there that if you you want to come on a show, do a fan show, you guys are more than welcome to. And I will leave it in the post, and I will leave the link for the studio in a post, and you guys are more than welcome to come on, and we can discuss Spurs at any point, man. If you guys want a fan show, we'll do a fan show, man. That would be fun. I would have no problem doing it. As Spurs now are trying to move down the left-hand side. Here's Tell, and there's going to be a whistle there. There's going to be 11 minutes of added time. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, hit me up on a DM on Instagram, and yeah, man, I would have no problem having you on to do a watch along. That would be fun, Dan. When World Cup matches are 8 p.m. my time in the UK, I can do it. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you want to come on and do a watch along, Dan, I'll have you along. So Spurs will have a free kick here as we are in the 91st. So there's, again, 11 minutes of added time here. As Spurs can find the equalizer here. That would be excellent. Considering this has been just I got to be honest with you guys, this has been a boring match. Spurs have been very disappointing as this ball will go in. Roofs will pop it up, so I think we're going to do this again. I hope Scotland do well at the World Cup. I do too, man. It's nice to see Scotland in. I was hoping Ireland would make it in as well too, but they let me down in their playoff. That would have been cool to have an all UK World Cup. That would have been nice if Wales did well too. So Spurs will try it again. As this ball will go in, that'll be headed away, and that'll get out. And I think this will be a Spurs throw in here. Did Trish and Steve just join? It's going to be a fun World Cup, man. Italy missing out for the third time in a row is shock. It's not shocking at all. Dude, Italy, not only do they get their managers wrong, but their talent has plummeted. You know, when you look at, and this is just a small snapshot, but when you're looking at their top teams in Serie A, when you're looking at AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juve, and you're looking at historic, Italian giants, and you look at their rosters, there's a lot of non-Italians on their team. There's a ball in by Tell that's going to get cleared, and yeah, it's not a shock, right? Because they're just not developing Italian talent. There's a ball in that's going to get headed down. Spurs will hold possession. Tell plays one in. Good defense right there as Onayan pops it straight up. As it'll come down. Polina will hold it. As Kolo Muani. I think they're going to whistle this against Kolo Muani. Oh, this is badly officiated. I'm not going to use that as an excuse, man. Spurs just fell flat. Let's see. Palace 2 up against Newcastle. Let's go, Eagles. Come on, you Eagles. I got a soft spot for Palace. Forest and Villa are tied 1-1. Okay. All right. as we are approaching the 95th minute. So this will be a long ball for Sunderland, as that'll come down. Spurs will hold possession, and they're going to try to play this one forward. As that gets out, so Spurs will have a throw in here. Aldretti does a nice job. This has been terrible to watch. As Papsar now will lay it off to Udogie. And here's Kevin Danso. There's a ball in. Headed away. As play resumes. And that'll get out. So Spurs will have to throw in. I do sometimes say a few American phrases, as I have a lot of Americans who go to the same church as me. I have a foster family. Okay. That's cool. I actually like the English phrase. I actually like the the King's English. That's a good little one, too. There's a shot. Ooh, and I think Robin Roofs gets a handle on it. That was a good 1-2 by Spurs right there. In traffic. That was nice as Porro was able to free himself up and put a rocket on. Nice little give and go right there with Udogie as Roofs will get his handle on it as that was redirected out. So this will be another corner for Spurs. As they'll go short. Here's Porro, and Porro just put it in orbit. Good Lord, man. Good Lord. Time Code Coffee has joined. All right. I hope you guys make good coffee. As we are now in the 97th minute. As time is coming down, as looks like Brobby is coming off the pitch now. As that, here comes Isidore now. I like Isidore. He's a good player. I don't necessarily know if he's on this level, but that being said, man, he balled out of control last year for Sunderland. As Spurs now coming down their final couple minutes now, as looks like reality is set in. As that ball is going to be taken away. And that'll get out. So I think this will be a Spurs throw-in as we are approaching the final 3 minutes now, as Spurs need to get forward. And that's taken away by Sunderland. As that'll get out. Spurs have nobody to blame but themselves for this one. As Sunderland played their game. And we could not match the physicality. As that one will get out. So this will be a goal kick for Spurs. As Udogie has to come back. As Van de Ven will play it forward. That'll get out, so that'll be a Spurs throw-in, as it looks like Spurs are just wasting time. As we have about a minute and a half left on this one. As here's Kinski. Ugh. As it's VDV who will play it forward. as Matisse Tell is absolutely blanketed. As they're going to work this one down the right-hand side. Here's Colo, or Papsar plays it in. As, ooh, there's a turnover. Popped up. Oh. It looks like somebody was taken off their feet right in the middle of the box. There's no call. As they'll move this out to the right now. Here's Colo. Ball in. Headed away. And now there's a whistle. As Spurs are just playing prayer ball here, hoping something will happen right for them. As there's the ownership group right there, Leo Han Lang and Vinny Venkatesham. These guys should be fired on the spot. Good Lord. As that one will get out. So Spurs will have the throw in. They got to move quickly here, as we are now at the 101 mark. As that one will get out. As we are waiting for this final whistle to come down. And there it is. As Sunderland beats Spurs 1-0 at the Stadium of Light. And this one is devastating. As I think that might do it. Granted, there are still 6 games left. 18 points remain. Now, of course, I don't think we're going to I do not think that we are going to make it a clean sweep. But that being said, it's like you can tell that these players are disappointed. But I like the fact that De Zerbi's out there hugging his players. But this one was disappointing from the start, and I will be frank, and I will say that, Sunderland is the type of team that is very athletic and very physical, and you have to come into this one understanding that they're going to want to set the tempo, and from that onset, we've heard all week that De Zerbi wanted to control the possession. He wanted to, put this team in advantageous positions. And then you see a starting 11, and you see 3 strikers up top. You don't see a creative 10, and you don't see anybody in a double pivot that is going to be any, that's going to provide any type of link up play. Like if you told me that it was going to be, João Palhinha and Conor Gallagher, but Palhinha is going to be that stay-at-home 6, and Conor Gallagher was going to be that link up in the midfield, playing a little bit higher, and potentially potentially playing off a guy like Xavi Simons, and you're going to have at least 2 underneath attackers, almost like 2 high 10s. Okay, that makes a lot. That definitely makes some sense, and then you're going to be able to play off a Richarlison. Or if you're going to use Richarlison a little bit more inside, almost like a shadow striker, so you're going to draw defenders, that opens up channels for a Xavi Simons to drive through, and then you can be a distributor to a guy like Dominic Solanke. Okay, that's great. We didn't see that at all. Outside of a couple minutes to start this match, we didn't see any type of attacking prowess, from this team. To me, that was a little bit disappointing. It's like, they say that first impressions last a lifetime, and I'm not going to sit here and pigeonhole a dude like Roberto De Zerbi off this one. I think he was seeing Sunderland for what they were, and decided to play a little bit more counterattacking. But again, I was saying it, during the game. It's like, dude, every single time that Sunderland had the ball, not only were they able to move it up the pitch with ease, but look how many yellow jerseys were behind the ball, all of them. And so from that standpoint, if you want to counterattack, at least put yourself in a decent position where you already have players that are high up the pitch. From that standpoint, it's, you saw what Sunderland was doing in those situations, and they always had, Brobby high up. So whenever there was a clearance, and they always had somebody to play it to. And from that standpoint, you just looked at exactly how they were moving the ball on a counterattack. It was, it was good. It was very good what Sunderland were able to accomplish. And, you look at where our placement was. Whenever we won the ball back, it was deep in our own area. And then now all of a sudden we have to play the ball forward, and Sunderland is collapsing on the ball. And it's like, we couldn't even get out of our own, from our own end at certain points. And me personally, I just think it was I don't know. I just think it was a bad setup, considering that, the last time we saw De Zerbi in the Premier League with Brighton, he kept 4 players forward at all times. And it's like, dude, here's the thing. I don't necessarily want to say that he got it wrong, but that being said, it wasn't necessarily the right. It's like, you kind of want to play your best players, which means João Palhinha needed to start this game. Matisse Tell needed to start this game. If you're going to play Richarlison, cool, man. Maybe even play in a 2-striker setup up top, or some configuration where, you're going to keep a guy like Richarlison somewhere near goal. Dude, he's not a winger. He's not a winger. I just didn't necessarily like the setup on this one. That's just all I'm saying. And from that, outside of the first couple of minutes, Spurs were, boring. There were a lot of times where we couldn't even link 2 passes together. And it's not a surprise that when we got forward, we were attacking down one side or another. I thought Randall Colomwani did not play well. There was no movement off that right side, and so we kept trying to attack down that left-hand side because there at least was some combination play. But off the right-hand side, Colomwani got bullied off the ball, and there was a number of occasions today where Pedro Porro just was forced into playing long balls, and that's not a recipe at all for any type of success. That's it. So we end up losing, and next up is Brighton. Brighton ends up winning today, so that's not going to be an easy test. So you're kind of looking forward. Is like, where are these points going to come from? But we get Brighton at home, so at least we don't have to go to the Amex. And I still think that this team is capable of getting a result there. And we get Wolves on the road as well too. So, the way that I'm looking at this is that, by the way, we've been clean sheeted twice in a row now. We haven't scored multiple. We haven't scored, let alone multiple goals, since the 18th of March in the second leg against Madrid at home. But that's what's on deck, right? Next Saturday, at home against Brighton, and then we have Wolves. That should be 3. Aston Villa away on May 2nd. Hopefully, that should yield some fruit. And then we have Leeds at home, and then Everton at home, with Chelsea on the road. I am hoping that we actually have enough to stay up. As I'm looking at West Ham right now, they have Crystal Palace. Hold on real quick. Let's just see. So they beat Wolves. So they have Palace away at Selhurst. They have Everton at home, Brentford away, Arsenal at home, Newcastle away, and they finish with Leeds. I kind of like our schedule a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying that we're staying up, but that being said, the schedule does work out into our favor a little bit, and we're only talking like 2 wins and a couple of draws that might keep us up. The question is whether or not there's enough faith that it's going to happen. Let's see. Dan Davenport says, I'm going to be honest with you. I think we could go down. Our players have off confidence in winning. When you haven't, that being said, it's like, we do have wins this season. This year, it's not like we haven't won this year. We just haven't won in the Premier League. And, we did beat Atletico at home. We did beat Frankfurt, and we did beat Dortmund. So it's not like we haven't won the season, but we just haven't won in the Premier League. I think that's obviously the thing that counts the most. But what I will say is that I'm not going to sit here and say that they didn't try today, because from a heart standpoint, it did look like they did try. The problem with this is they couldn't match the physicality of Sunderland, and Sunderland was just relentless. Every single time a ball comes in, they absolutely collapse on the ball, and it either forced us off a half turn to try to push forward, or the ball just went back. And man, we conceded a lot of space. It was just tough to watch today. Let's see. Gerard O'Connor says League One is on the horizon. That would be, not only if we get relegated, but we pull a Sunderland and we, get two straight relegations. Yeah, that would be terrible. And Edward Caesar Hahn says Spurs are going down. Yeah, it looks like it. Kyle on CFC FCB on TikTok says De Zerbi is actually a one club wonder. I don't know. I thought he did. I thought he did perfectly fine at Olympique Marseille. Kyle says you are all doomed. If you think Everton is the one of those wins, you are delusional. I don't know. Our record against Everton at home is actually not too terrible. We don't actually have to go to the Hill Dickinson. And by the way, we beat Everton earlier this year too. So, it's not like Everton is lighting the world on fire. Although, they're sitting in 8th right now. So, what do I know? All right, let's go ahead and get into the stats on this one before I call this one a day. Sunderland did win the possession battle 52-48. They also won the XG battle 1.79 to 0.91. Total shots, Sunderland 13, Spurs 11. Shots on target, 7-2 for Spurs. Big chances, 2-1 to Everton. 3-1 to Sunderland. They also missed all 3 of their big chances, and we missed our 1. Accurate passes, 309 to Sunderland, 290 to Spurs. Fouls committed, Spurs 15, Sunderland 14, and we won the corner battle 6-2. XG from open play, Sunderland 0.94 to our 0.7. XG on set play, Sunderland 0.85 to our 0.21. Shots inside the box, Spurs actually ended up winning that one 10-8. Shots outside the box 5-1. for Sunderland, and of course they got their lone goal off a redirection from outside the box. Yeah, that one hurts, man. Two different clubs at this point in the season. Yeah. I hear you. In the total passing, 397 to Sunderland to our 357. Passes in the own half, 175 to 146 for Spurs. That just kind of lets you know where we were at, considering passes in the opposition half, 163 to 115. Accurate long ball, Spurs 22 to Sunderland's 20. Accurate crosses, 8-5 to Spurs. Throws, 16 to 12. Touches in the opposition box, 26-21. The yellow cards were even with 3 apiece. On the defensive side of the ball, they won the tackle battle 22-8. 22-8. And again, that just kind of lets you know the physicality that Sunderland plays with. 22-8 is crazy. Interceptions 10-9 to Sunderland. Blocks 3-1 Spurs. Clearances 27-19 to Spurs, and keeper saves 7-1. So yeah, what I will say is that when Spurs did actually get in the opposition box, they made Roofs work a little bit. So we just didn't necessarily get a lot of high percentage chances today. The duel side of things, they win the duel battle 45-38, ground duels 41-26. We did well, aerial duels 12-4, and successful dribbles were even at 5 apiece. And so really this one came down to physicality, and they just outmuscled us. That's the long and short of it. It's depressing too, because this was a game where we absolutely needed, considering what West Ham did against Wolves, we needed a response, and considering that this team had 3 weeks off, and considering it had essentially like a week and a half with their new head coach, and it felt like maybe there might be some positive vibes going into this one, and then when I saw the starting 11, I was kind of like, I don't know about this one. Specifically, Lucas Bergvall and Conor Gallagher, didn't necessarily know if those were the right choices. I kind of wanted to see what, a guy like, Xavi, I can understand why Xavi was put on the bench, just because we're on the road against a physical team in a place like the Stadium of Light. But that being said, it's like, he's really only our true creative outlet. And, you kind of wanted to see what that would have looked like within the first 25 minutes, right? Just to kind of see exactly where that potential setup would have looked like, how he was going to play off a guy like Richarlison. And we just didn't get to see it. And by the time he came in, it was already over. Even though we were only down by a goal, the feeling was, we just, we weren't able to set up. And so from that standpoint, it was just kind of disappointing. I don't necessarily think that De Zerbi got it right. I don't necessarily even want to say he got it wrong, but, from the onset, once we got through that first 5-10 minutes and you kind of understood exactly how we were going to play, it just seemed like we dropped deeper and deeper and deeper. And again, you're not going to be able to counter that, that far deep into your own territory. That was the disappointing thing, because it was no different than anything we saw under Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor at that stage. And I got to be honest with you, man, that was the most disappointing thing. I was hoping that we were going to see this team be a little bit more aggressive. That's what I was hoping under De Zerbi. There would be a level of expectation and a style of play that was going to be conducive to the talent that we absolutely have. And it just looked more of the same. It really did. That was the disappointing part. So Spurs will have another week under De Zerbi to fix some of these things, fix some of these issues, and we will have Brighton next Saturday in a match that we really need something out of it. And I don't give a shit how it happens, but it has to happen. Because if we drop against Brighton, we're kind of hoping that West Ham falls, and then we have three of the last five: Wolves, Leeds, and Everton is going to be the saving grace. Considering we have Villa and Chelsea still left on the schedule, so I don't know how this is going to happen. Obviously, it's going to come down to the wire, and does this team have any magic? Does it? You guys tell me. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Man. Ninety minutes of cowering from physicality, man. That's what that's essentially what I saw today. And 10 men behind the ball and just allowing your opponent, just to walk into your area with ease without any resistance. That one was tough, man. And man, I get emotional. I have to separate it, man. This has been a bad month of March. I got to be honest with you. I know I think we're in April now, but we had a shitty month of March. Outside of the Liverpool result, where we're able to come back late and equalize and hold on and get a point at Anfield, but between the U.S. men's national team getting bodied, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks later getting back into the Premier League, and Spurs getting bodied by Sunderland. It's just I would like to see a win. That's what I would like to see. I would just like to see something just to wash off the funk, wash off the toxicity. Who knows, man? Who knows how this is going to play out? But what I do know is that the powers that be that put this team in this position, if there is a relegation, the for me at least, the good news is that Enoch will be forced to clean house. They're going to be forced to let Vinny Venkatesham and Johan Lang go, and that would allow Roberto De Zerbi to potentially be in a position where he can potentially name a director of football that he can work with to rebuild this team and get this team back up. So if we do get relegated, we're only going to be down a season. That's the reality. I think this team is good, and it will pop right back up. So I don't want to go through that season in the championship, but if it does, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I hope that, we're able to bounce back and we get a result against Brighton. You guys have a great day, man. Take care. Bye.